If you didn't know, Path of Exile 2 just released the complete Ascendancy class information, and we're going to be going over that in this video. If you don't know what the Ascendancy classes are, they are basically a subclass to the main class that you're going to pick at the beginning of the game. So, for example, if you pick a witch, that witch has a subclass, 2 subclasses at early access. Each character will have 2, by the way, but you will be able to choose between Blood Mage or Infernalist if you pick witch. Picking this is going to be permanent, so you need to make sure that you are ready and you understand what you're going to be picking. There is some rumors going around that they might be thinking about making this a reversible thing. However, it is not confirmed, and I'm not going to sit on that and wait. So don't hold your breath. Definitely take this very seriously. Look into what you're going to pick and make sure that it's what you want to do. I also want to preference that with making sure that you pick something that you really want to play. Just because I say it looks really good or it could be really great for me doesn't mean it will be great for you. So make sure that you're picking the right thing for yourself and not going off of someone else's build guide, because in the end, this is your character and this is your play style, and you have to make sure that you're happy with your character and how it plays. All right, so this one here is for the warrior. This is the Ascendancy classes for the warrior. We're going to be talking about the Titan first. And one thing that really stands out for this Ascendancy class is the hulking form. This, the one right here, does 50% increased effect of small passive skills. This is actually huge. All right, this is a big deal for the warrior. If you're going to be picking a Ascendancy class, it's going to weigh pretty heavily on the fact that hulking form is just OP. I'll be honest with you. So if you're, I would say if you're into wielding big two-handed weapons and all that stuff, you're probably going to want to go Titan. But if you're not and you want to do more of a blocking kind of aspect, they do have the Warbringer for the warrior. And with this, there's a lot of stuff to gaining like 40% base chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value down there on number 6. Renly's training. They also had the turtle charm, which is 35% less block chance, but can block damage from all hits while shield is not raised. So you won't have to raise your shield to actually block damage from any of the hits, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. Basically, you just become a turtle, right? Join the turtle club. Now moving on to the ranger, we do have Deadeye as our first one we're talking about. Now this could be potentially the strongest build if done right. Okay, there is a skill called arrow rain or rain arrows. I can't remember the exact name of it, but that one I seen it on a skill tree, and it has the potential to do a crap ton of damage. All right, like I'm telling you, if you use that skill, it gives you like, I think it was like 53 extra arrows. Actually, let me see if I can find it. There it is, rain of arrows. So if you check this out right here, we've got rain of arrows, and if you look at this attack damage, 163% attack damage. Now the big deal about this is that it's going to fire 53 arrows. The base radius is 3.6 meters. Okay, so if you're using this paired with that Ascendancy class for the ranger, that's actually going to be nuts, because you're going to be able to stack so much damage. This is going to be, like, honestly, it could be one of the most powerful classes. But the crazy part about it, you don't know that. It looks like the most underwhelming class when you look at the Ascendancy class, but knowing that Rain of Arrows exists, that's what's going to make or break your builds. Like, everything leading up to the Ascendancy is going to make or break your builds. You have to understand that using these skills along with those is going to be very important. All right, checking out this one here, the Pathfinder for the Ranger. This one's kind of interesting because basically now you get to take your flasks and you get to turn the charges into these brewing concoctions that you'll be able to throw out like grenades, and you'll be able to do different types of damage, like poisonous damage. We've got ice damage or cold damage, explosive damage, which is fire. Then you have the bleeding concoction, which is going to do it's going to explode, dealing unarmed physical attack damage in an area. But out of the two, I would say the Deadeye, in my opinion, is the one I would pick. However, this looks really cool. All right, so we're talking about the sorcerer here. We got Stormweaver. Basically with this is going to be a big deal for, enhancing all of your elemental stuff, right? We have elemental storm that we're going to get from this ascendancy class, which creates a stationary fire, cold, or lightning storm. So I'm assuming you'll be able to determine what that's going to be, and it's going to set it down for a certain duration based on the highest elemental damage type for the hit. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. We're going to have basically, if you do a high elemental damage with lightning, you'll have a lightning storm. If it's cold or ice, then you'll have cold. And then if it's fire, then you'll have a big old firestorm going on. But that's what's going to happen. The elemental damage type for the hit that triggered the storm, hits which do not deal elemental damage will not trigger that storm. So making sure that you're using your fire, ice, and your lightning is going to be very important with this in order to trigger that elemental storm, because you want to trigger that as much as possible, I assume. Now, also checking out number 3 there, Rain Dancer. The elemental storm has 150% more cooldown recovery rate. So we don't really know the cooldown recovery quite yet on this, right? So 150% more cooldown recovery rate hopefully is a good thing, and you'll be able to see more of your elemental storms coming out. So that's going to be interesting to see. But we also, if we check down here, number 8, like this Ascendancy class is actually probably one of the better ones for the sorcerer. I would say that number 8 and number 9 paired together is a very important thing. Also, if you check out Constant Gale, you have Arcane Surge, and what Arcane Surge does, it will grant 10% more cast speed and 20% more mana regeneration rate. Paired with number 9 is a 1% increased effect of Arcane Surge on you per 15 maximum mana. So you're definitely going to want to pair 8 and 9 together, picking up those two nodes, and obviously be able to cast your elemental storm as much as possible, getting that recovery rate with number 3. It's going to be very important. Next up for the sorcerer is the Chronomancer. Again, we're going in numerical order 1 through 8, starting with Now and Again. Skills have 33% chance to not consume a cooldown when used. That's kind of crazy. We also have number 2 is the Unbound Encore. This is going to grant a skill called Time Snap, and that skill will manipulate time, resetting the cooldowns of your other skills. So far it's looking pretty cool. This Chronomancer, I'm telling you, this is already sounding really, really dope. And I really enjoy how they have the art style in the form of like an hourglass over there. It's pretty cool. Moving on, Ultimate Command grants the skill Time Freeze, which is going to release a large wave that stops time for all affected enemies for a duration. The duration is lower the more times the enemies have had time stopped for them. The more times you use it, the less time they're going to actually be, frozen in time. Okay, so this one's the Infernalist. This is the one where you can basically turn into that like demon form. I don't know if you guys saw this in the preview, but they have a demon form that they're able to shapeshift into, and we now know what that does. Shapeshifting into the demon form will vastly boost the power of your spells. You gain a demon flame every second you remain a demon in demon form, causing your life to be lost at an ever increasing rate. Revert to human form if you reach 1 life. Use a skill that isn't a spell or reactivate the skill. Okay, interesting. So I'd say demon form is looking pretty strong. Like this class is looking really strong here. We have the summon the Infernal Hound. You can summon a reviving Infernal Hound, which ignites enemies near it. I gotta say, this is actually pretty sick. Imagine you have, you're building into a minion build. Now you have the demon form with the summoning of the Infernal Hound. Like, kind of wild, honestly. I personally would go Infernalist if I was a witch, just by the fact that I would want to do a minion build. If you're trying to do a minion build, I'm pretty sure you should probably go this route. Like, it would make the most sense in my opinion, because you get to add an additional Infernal Hound. You get demon form out of this, and personally, who wouldn't want a demon hound? This one looks really cool, honestly, and it's probably really, really powerful. I would have to say that, we now know what like life remnants is. You can drink the blood of your enemies to restore your life, while active enemies you kill have a chance to spawn a life remnant, and critically hitting a target spawns a life remnant every few seconds. Picking up a life remnant grants you life which can overflow your maximum life, which is pretty cool. Obviously, you are a blood mage, so a lot of stuff to do with leeching of life and blood, and I'm assuming you create, like that was just saying there, you're able to overflow your maximum life, which is kind of like a little shield. Imagine like a little blood shield, like I would assume. um Moving on, Sunder, let's see, Gore Spike, 1% increased critical damage per bonus per 40 life. I think this used to be higher, so I think this is actually nerfed, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, yikes. Okay, well, maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see. I mean, she must have been pretty strong for them to lower that, but this class looks really sick, honestly. All right, so next up we have the Gemling Legionnaire. Now, I've messed this name up in the past. I think other people are actually calling it the Gambling Legionnaire, but this is the Gemling Legionnaire, and it has a lot to do with certain support gems. For example, if you look at this infusion skill number 6 down here, 1% to maximum cold resistance per 4 blue support gems socketed. So it has a lot to do with whatever color support gem or type of support gem that you're using, and it's going to add a certain resistance dependent on those. So if you have a if you have 4 red support gems socketed, you're going to get a 1% to maximum fire resistance. I would say the only thing cool about this one is the gem studded, where you can use 2 copies of the same support gem in different skills, which that could be pretty freaking cool. Okay, so now we're talking about the Witch Hunter. The Witch Hunter looks like it could be a really great class. It looks like it may be more of a casual players type of style. He looks like he's going to be really great for party play, also using the Decimating Strike right there, number 3, Judge, Jury, and Executioner. So Decimating Strike hits against full life enemies, remove between 5 and 30% of life before the damage of the hit is applied. So, if you're in a, situation where like you're in a party, you could really be like, I don't know if this is going to work against like bosses or not though. So, I mean, if it works against bosses, that's going to be kind of crazy. And you'll be able to like be really helpful in a party probably, but otherwise this does look like a really cool character class. I think it's going to be one of the ones that a lot of people play. I know a lot of people are interested in the mercenary. Okay, so next up for the monk is going to be the Invoker Ascendancy class. This one here basically is going to allow you to just like enhance your elemental skills, and it's actually going to be able to allow you to be a little bit more tanky. You'll be able to get a little bit of physical damage reduction right there on the number 2 node. So that's going to be super helpful, and basically you're just going to be able to go around the battlefield acting like Aang from the Avatar with all of your elements and your insane like elemental powers, and it's just basically going to double. And like, check out this one here at the bottom here, number 9, trigger elemental expression on melee critical hit. Like, pretty nuts. We're gonna get some new skills from this one. Meditate, that's gonna be pretty sick. Then moving on to the next one, the Acolyte of Cholula. The Acolyte of Cholula it looks really interesting to me. However, I think this would be like, I don't think I'm gonna go with this one because I am playing Monk for my first playthrough. But I don't think I'm gonna go with this one. I think I'm gonna just double down on the Invoker. But with this one, the Acolyte of Cholula, you have a lot of cool stuff here. Honestly, I have to say that it is an interesting build. I just don't know if I'm ready for it. The Flame of Cholula is also an interesting mechanic that basically, like when you're killing things or collecting the flames, because you kill things, you collect the flames, and you'll start to get bonuses. For example, like there's different color flames, like red flame, a blue flame, and a purple flame, and each one has different like bonuses. So like the red flame is like leech 7% of like maximum life to you. Blue flame is leech 7% of your maximum mana to you, and then the purple one is for the Cholula provided a stacking buff, granting 7% of damage as chaos damage for 5 seconds and stacks up to 10 times. So it's pretty interesting, and it's got a lot of mechanics to it, honestly. So it looks really cool, and at some point I'm sure I'll give this a try. However, just it seems a little bit too much for me. I'm just gonna double down on the Invoker side. With that being said, that is all of the Ascendancy classes, guys. I hope you guys got some good insight from this, and if you need some more information, if I should deep dive a little bit deeper, if you guys want some theory crafting builds, I don't mind going in to try to figure that stuff out. I'm typically not the biggest like theory crafter out there unless I get like hands-on experience and like try stuff out. But if you like the video, guys, make sure to like, subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That'd be sick. And if you're watching this video right now, we're gonna be putting out a ton more Path of Exile 2 content. I'm like super deep into this. The hype is real.